I am Dietmar Doering, engaged in Sri Lanka for the last 37 years and presently the CEO of the Asian German Research Institute. So, why do I favor tourism as the key industrial sector which could be activated at the earliest, compared to exports and foreign employment, which I mentioned they might have some more problems to be immediately activated and contribute to Sri Lanka's GDP. Tourism Sri Lanka has already existing and ready to use infrastructure in place all over the country. Infrastructure which is on the demand side. That means from the tourist perspective side, well in place, and which could be used instantly. So what is on instantly available supply with regard to tourism in Sri Lanka? And we are talking here in economic terms. Economic terms, demand and supply, and instantly means ready at this day. Coming to the details for tourism. Ready at this time and this day, 1,200 kilometers of pristine beaches, ready for sea bathing, water sports, wind and kite surfing, catamaran sailings, whale and dolphin watching, everything is ready to use. A huge fauna and flora, a huge attractive wildlife, heritage sites, religious sites, and what you have foremost, which is, I would say, decently not recognized by our tourist development authorities, I could say, the welcoming and guest-friendly locals and the smile of the children. This claims that supplies are available and they would be met with great appreciation by the tourists. And how do we come to that? Analysis of departing tourists who were questioned in a survey while being in the departure sector of the Bandaranaike International Airport. And the two key findings, among others, the two key findings were that 80% of all tourists who visited Sri Lanka were very positively touched by the island's fauna and flora. The survey was based on a questionnaire of approximately 50 questions, and over 1,000 tourists from 56 different countries had participated in that. And again, the second very amazing finding, again 80% of all tourists, they were amazed about the friendliness of the native people in Sri Lanka, their welcoming attitudes, their helpfulness and courtesy. And on our supply side, on the Sri Lankan supply side, this hasn't changed at all, even in crisis not. But there must be a catch as to why only 2 to 2.5 million tourists annually over the last so many years visiting Sri Lanka, and why not more? Compared to Vietnam, which has had a similar, maybe even a more severe war situation in the past. But Vietnam is generating over 11 million tourists annually. And I will come with references, which you find below in the link list, with hard facts, statistics, and reports. I have to make a small correction on my last vlog when I mentioned that Vietnam recorded 11 million annual tourist arrivals in 2019. In fact, over 18 million tourists visited Vietnam in 2019, and that is by far exceeding the annual arrivals in comparison to Sri Lanka. And as I mentioned, what you have seen now, Sri Lanka has everything on offer. It's a beautiful island in the Indian Ocean. Tourists like it. Not only the wonderful beaches, the fauna, the flora, the wildlife, also the very friendly native Sri Lankan people. So here the big question is, why only 2.5 million or 2.7 million? That is what the tourist authorities published, 2.7 million tourists in 2018-2019 visited Sri Lanka. So we are not comparing Sri Lanka with Thailand. Thailand has recorded 40 million tourist annual arrivals in 2019. Or even Malaysia, 26 million tourists have come in 2019. Or Maldives with almost 1.7 million tourists. But this 1.7 million tourist arrivals in Maldives, they correspond with the 57% of the total GDP of the country. So our research findings, in short, they will be detailed in my next vlogs, but as a keyword I can already say Sri Lanka was suffering over many years from exorbitant expensive airfares. So visitors, tourists who were traveling from Europe to Sri Lanka, they had to pay higher airfares, we'll say from Frankfurt to Colombo, higher airfares than flying from Frankfurt to Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur or Vietnam or Bangkok. So that is difficult to explain because these destinations, they are even farther away in nautical miles than reaching Sri Lanka. And there's another big stumbling block, I would say. The off-season misnomer. Sri Lanka is suffering from an off-season misnomer, or we can call it misconception. I will detail that in my next vlogs. I wish you all the best and see you next.